When it's time to fire up the barbecue or get your smoker rolling, I look no further than a Butterball boneless turkey breast. Now this little beauty is something that I keep a couple of these in the freezer at all times, because when I'm looking to get some really great smoky flavor or put something simple on the barbecue that'll feed a large group of people, all I have to do is thaw one of these and it's ready to go. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is to use this incredible cut of meat. It's healthy, it's boneless, it's skinless, and what I'm going to show you today is a Korean take on it. We're going to do tacos, and we're going to use a beautiful marinade. Going to get lots of flavor in there, put it on the smoker. You can use a barbecue if you want, but in the end, what you've got is a beautiful cut of meat, lean, beautiful, full flavored, and it's going to please everybody at your dinner table. The best way to thaw the boneless turkey breast is either in the refrigerator over a 24-hour period or in a large bowl, about twice the size of the turkey breast, in some cold, slow-running water. And then you can see it's so easy to open up. There's handles up at the top. And all I do is just gently pierce that and then slice it open. And what you'll see is there's this netting. That netting holds the turkey breast together. It's food safe, so you can hang on to that, leave that on during the cooking period. But you can see that beautiful cut. I just give it a quick dip to rinse it off, and then on a plate, and I'll let it slightly dry just before I start seasoning. You can clearly see the netting that holds that turkey breast all together. Now again, that's food safe, and you can smoke or barbecue, just not over direct heat. Over direct heat, it'll actually ignite it. But if you've got it on the smoker or using offset heat on the barbecue, it's perfect for using this cut. So when you do, obviously you could just season this with salt and pepper and get it on the smoker. It tastes incredible. But to bring that little bit of Korean flair to this, we're going to use toasted sesame oil, we're going to use some soy, maybe a little bit of fish sauce and some other spices to get some flavor into this. Now, you can do a short marinade, about 4 hours, or for this one, I'm going to go for 24 hours to really permeate deeply into this beautiful turkey breast. What that means is when I get it on the smoker, it'll have that flavor all through it. Thinly sliced and put on top of a taco with a pickled slaw. The pickled slaw is coming up. I'll show you how to make a simple pickled slaw that'll really elevate and tie all this dish together. The first flavor element that I'm working on for the marinade is garlic. Trim the base of the garlic off and peel it completely, set that aside. And what I like to do, you can either mince it or you can just simply slice it in half and then thinly slice it. Remember, this is going to marinate at least 4 hours or up to 24 hours. You'll have plenty of time to get that delicious garlic flavor deep inside the turkey breast. Fresh cilantro is so unmistakable. Its fragrance is beautiful, it's bright, and the best way to use it in a marinade is there's a ton of flavor inside the stalks as well. So to simplify it, what I'm going to do is this has been perfectly rinsed. I'm just going to take and wring it in half, and then I'll finely slice it or chop it, not bruising it too much. I really just want these leaves. Man, as I'm cutting it, you can just smell it. I'm just taking all of that, and I'm going to put all of that inside the marinade. Now it's time to turn up the heat. Take a jalapeno and just simply slice it. If you want to dial down the heat a little bit, split it in half and remove the seeds, but I love the fire of the jalapeno. And keep in mind, it's going to be mellowed over time. That whole thing can go inside my bowl. Now the spice in this Korean taco is going to be coriander. The easiest way to get a ton of flavor out of coriander is to lightly toast it with no oil over medium heat until it's just fragrant. Then put it in a mortar and pestle, grind it up, and then add that to the marinade. And now for the fun part. We're going to add some of these powerful flavors. First of all, we've got some brown sugar, a cup of brown sugar. Then canola oil, 3 tablespoons. Look at that, beautiful, nice cold pressed extra virgin. And I've got soy, 3 tablespoons of soy. Nice saltiness, richness, tons of flavor development there. And the toasted sesame. You got 1 tablespoon of toasted sesame and a little bit more if you really love that sesame flavor. Now I wish you could smell what this smells like. It smells so incredible. You can imagine what this is going to do to this beautiful turkey breast. The great thing about this marinade is that it's not just going to serve as a marinade either. This will turn into a mop. So when this is being smoked, we're going to use this to completely continue to coat it and develop those Korean flavors to get it ready. This is a recipe that's straight out of my new cookbook, Electric Smoking Cookbook for Beginners. So let's get this turkey breast submerged in all of this flavor. So just take that turkey breast and set it inside. Now the idea here is that we want to completely coat it. Now keep in mind, another great way to do this is to take a plastic wrap bag and you can completely take the air out and coat that, but you can see there's no reason to sweat this. This is easy as can be. The only thing I want you to do is to make sure to cover this with plastic wrap and then turn it occasionally over 24 hours, or if it's only a 4-hour short marinade, turn it about once an hour. If it's a 24-hour marinade, just flip it about every 3 or 4 hours. What you're going to have is all that incredible flavor is going to get right inside that beautiful little Butterball. After a 24-hour marinade, this is ready for the smoker. The one thing I'm reminded of is how easy it is to use these products, and the fact that you can keep them in your freezer for months on end and have them at the ready is very important. Now you see I've got this marinade. I'm going to make sure that there's just enough on top of it as it goes inside the smoker, but you'll notice that I put it in a cast iron pan. And the reason that I did this is the high sugar content from this marinade will have a tendency to potentially burn. Now you can put this over top of your barbecue with no issues. I just don't want to create a huge mess. To clarify one more thing, just make certain that you don't put this over open flame. That will affect that netting and the turkey breast will come apart. And what you want is you want it to hold together. There's a couple really good reasons for that. Number one, you will get uniform cooking, which is really important. You want to make sure that it's all cooked essentially at the same time. We're looking for 165 degrees internal temperature at the thickest point, and in order to keep that uniform, that netting works perfectly. As a matter of fact, in French cuisine, tying up meat so that it's uniform like that, it's a classic. So you're getting a premium cut here. Let's get it on the barbecue. Just like any oven, make sure to preheat your barbecue or your smoker. Also, pull the turkey out of the refrigerator about 20 minutes beforehand, before it goes on the smoker. Let's have a look and see how we're making out. We got a good fire rolling there. The smoke, it smells incredible. I've got a competition mix blend in the smoker, and it's ready to go on. All right, let's get this on. Put a little bit more of this beautiful marinade on top, reserving some of it for later. And then importantly, this is a large cut of turkey. Notice I'm adding some seasoning now, a little bit of salt. Keep in mind we've got lots of seasoning also from the soy and fresh ground black pepper. Lots of layers of flavor. Let's see what this looks like in about an hour. All really great recipes pay attention to flavor and texture. And for texture, this recipe has that pickled slaw. So all the ingredients are going to be fresh except for one. The red onion. We're going to do a simple pickle, which is just cider vinegar. I'm going to toss a few coriander seeds in there. We're going to bring it up to a boil, reduce to simmer, and all it does is make them tender and smooth. Then, while it's still warm, we'll dump that on top of all the fresh ingredients, bring it together, and what you have is you have a little bit of crunch, a little bit of sweetness, but with that turkey, it's unbelievable. A quick slice of red onion by taking off the top and the root tip. Then slicing in half and peeling to reveal that beautiful, red, silky smooth, fragrant skin. And this is something you want to make sure you see there's a little bit of a root tip left there. Going to take that right off. Turn it sideways and a fine slice. Make sure the slices are nice and fine and thin so they make a beautiful bite. Now use cider vinegar. You could use white wine or even red wine vinegar. I love the punch of cider vinegar. I'm going to put about a cup in, and then I'm going to divert from the recipe a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of coriander seed in there because I just can't get enough. Those seeds are going to give it lots of flavor. A little pinch of salt, just so we have good seasoning, even a little bit of pepper. Now this is going to go on the stove, medium-high heat. I'll bring it up to temperature and then reduce it to simmer. You'll see it's going to be beautiful. Now you'll notice for this slaw, I've selected the Savoy cabbage. The reason that I've selected the Savoy cabbage is that I like its texture. It's slightly corrugated, it's beautifully flavored, and it really stands up well. Look at that absolutely gorgeous color. So just take and quarter it. And then once you do, remove that core. So nice fine slice through, take the core, set it aside, and then really nice fine slices. It's a bigger piece, you might want to quarter it again into eighths, but make sure these are nice little ribbons. That way it'll be the right texture and the right flavor. So as you can see, these beautiful ribbons of that Savoy cabbage are ready. So they smell great, they're very bright, very fresh, and they're going to be really crunchy. Now, I want to add carrot, but I don't want chunks of carrot. So here's the way that I do it. Very simply, I start by peeling the carrot. We'll go all the way around. A good wide peeler makes the job really simple. And once you've taken off that first layer, then go over the bowl and just keep going. What you end up with are these beautiful ribbons of very delicate carrot. A carrot, when it's thinly sliced like this, you get all of the flavor, but it's not like that heavy, you gotta be Peter Rabbit to enjoy it kind of carrot. So this is really nice, especially on a sandwich. Next up are the spring onions or the scallions. So I'm just gonna take a nice slice, we'll remove that root tip, set that aside, and then on a 45 or even sharper, really nice thin slices. Go all the way through the whites of the spring onions and then into the green part. Keep going, don't go right near the stem. As it gets further towards the end of the scallion, the intensity of the flavor goes up quite a bit. As you pick up the spring onions, just kind of rain them down and just run them through your fingers a little bit. And what that'll do is it'll break them up so you don't have big chunks. Those smell beautiful. Next, the fresh cilantro. So we've got a whole bunch. We use some for the marinade. What I want you to do is just simply pick the leaves. So individually, you can take the tip off and take 2 or 3 at a time. But this is a place where you don't want stems. The leaves are incredibly pleasant. They're full flavored. Just think of them like a green. They'll bring that flavor to this. And what you want to do is just keep working your way. But make sure that you rinse the cilantro before use. Now, instead of just running it underwater, the best way to it's often grown in sandy soil, so the best way to get it removed and get it really clean is to get a very large bowl of water, make sure it's ice cold, so straight from the tap, and then plunge it down in it. As you plunge it down in and draw it out, the sand comes off and stays in the bowl. Often if you're just rinsing it, it moves around on the leaves, but doesn't get off completely. Then you're biting into it and you get that crunch, and it's really unpleasant. So plunge it in. The other thing it does, it keeps it nice and bright and fresh. So cilantro in, and the very last step is to put in our pickled onion. Now in just a few minutes, you can see we've got these beautiful pickled onions. We're going to put those on. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I wish you could smell this. I love doing a quick pickle on onions. It's so much better than just putting raw onions in. Then literally all you have to do is just begin to mix this. Start by just tossing it a little bit. And as you do, you'll incorporate that. You've got that warm vinegar that is starting to coat all of the ingredients. Then to finish it up, we'll just do a little bit of seasoning and this will be ready to go. Now this coleslaw is warm right now. It's going to taste really good if it's chilled. Just before we do, I'm going to put a splash of canola on it, and what that does, that little bit of fat gives it a little bit of richness, and we want to make sure to season it. So seasoning at all levels. A little bit of seasoning with salt and fresh ground black pepper. I'm going to cover that up, get that in the refrigerator, and I can smell that roast. It's smoking away. We're going to check on it here in a minute. It won't be long, and we'll be assembling these beautiful little tacos. You can see why if you have a look. I'll show you closer as we finish. There's a lot of black, that concentration that gets down on the bottom. If that was dripping down inside your smoker, it'd make quite a mess. But look at that golden brown. Look at how that flavor has developed. And isn't it great to take and reuse this beautiful marinade as a mop? So just keep doing this. Do it, I would do it about every 20 minutes as you continue to smoke. Look at that beauty. All right, the anticipation is over. I've been marinating this for 24 hours, then smoked it for a couple hours, low and slow, and it's ready. So have a look at this. It's absolutely gorgeous. The texture is still there. I can smell it. Smells incredible. A really good investment is an inexpensive instant read probe thermometer. I'm just putting that in the thickest part of the turkey breast. Now it's really important to let this rest and cool slightly, but you can see, look at that, I got a little jalapeno sticking out there. You can see all you have to do is just slide your knife underneath, and that's how easy that comes off. I always do it underneath, and then I start working that netting off, pulling it up over top, just to reveal that beautiful turkey underneath. And just peel that right back. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. You can see how that turkey breast is held together beautifully. Peel that back, look at that golden brown. Now let's get a slice of this. So with that netting off, let's get some slices. Look at this. Oh my gosh. It's so juicy and so tender. You can see that beautiful light smoke ring around the outside. Look at that. That's going to just melt in your mouth. It's going to be perfect for these tacos. So in just a couple seconds, you can see how easy it is to remove that netting. We'll just discard that and start to build this taco. The first step is to take the flatbread, and you want to build it with just a little bit of the slaw underneath. So I'll take and put a nice helping of that in. You want to fill it up. You want lots of crunch and lots of flavor in there. Slaw is in. I can take some of this beautiful turkey, layer it in there, overlapping it just slightly. Wrap that up nice and tight. And one thing I like to do for serving large groups of people, where you can't really microwave greens or reheat greens or anything that will actually begin to degrade. But the nice thing about cabbage is it can take some of the heat. So what you can do is you can prepare a whole bunch of these in advance and then gently warm them up on the barbecue or the smoker and serve them piping hot. They're delicious. I always use a squeeze of lime to finish it. It just brightens it up. Serve it with a cheek, as I like to call them, and just give it a good squeeze or serve it with that as it goes out. What I can't believe is that this time yesterday, this beautiful turkey roast, this white breast it was frozen. Easy to thaw, easy to marinate, beautiful to smoke, and this will serve a large group of people. Now, let's say you're only serving 2. It's fine because you can have it for one dinner, and then you've got, let's say, a half or more of this beautiful roast that you can slice up and make incredible sandwiches the next day and the next day after that. However way you slice it, Butterball gets it done.